DETV News is powered by DART, Delaware's transit service. Moving forward.
Tonight, ships coming into the Wilmington port have nearly doubled since the Baltimore bridge accident. Plus, Smyrna property owners will see their tax bills nearly double. And one Wilmington daycare gets a $1 million boost. Those stories and much more coming up tonight on DETV News. Good evening and welcome to DETV News. I'm Matt Ford. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Making headlines today, the Port of Wilmington is already seeing nearly double the expected number of ships since the collapse of the Key Bridge in Baltimore last week. The Wilmington port is the likely destination for many ships previously bound for Baltimore, one of the busiest ports in the North Atlantic seas. The Port of Wilmington already handles auto and forestry products, so it's in those areas where the port has seen increased traffic. Increases in truck or train traffic from the port will likely be incremental, according to authorities, until the full impacts of the disaster are known. And in other news, Smyrna homeowners will soon be paying more in property taxes. The property tax rate will increase from 47 cents per $100 to 94 cents, a near double increase necessary to close the deficit. A vote was taken on Monday at the Smyrna Town Council meeting, during which members noted that taxes had not been raised in several years. The town is building a new water tower and is expanding its police force. Growth has continued at a steady pace in the town, and 1,500 to 2,000 new homes are expected to be built in the coming months. And in other news, a 56-year-old Newcastle County man has been charged with multiple counts of rape. Andrew Manny Williams of Oakmont was alleged to have committed a rape in his home. Further investigation linked him with additional cases involving multiple victims in the area. An affidavit revealed Williams used drugs and aggressive behavior to force them to commit sexual acts. Authorities say Williams enticed his victims with drugs before forcing himself on them. He has been charged with several counts of felony rape, unlawful sexual conduct, and a number of other charges. Police are working to determine if Williams is connected to any unsolved sexual attacks. Anyone with information in this case is urged to call police at 302-395-8016. And Newcastle police are investigating reports of vehicle brake lines that have been cut over the weekend in a development north of Middletown. This is the second report this year of brake lines being cut in the area, according to Senior Corporal Richard Chambers, who is a police spokesman. Chambers said the crime was an isolated incident which police are investigating thoroughly. County police were dispatched to the 100 block of Bakersfield Drive for a report of two vehicles having their lines cut sometime in the overnight hours. Chambers said if you discover your brake lines have been cut, not to attempt to drive your car and to call police immediately. Cut brake lines will result in a loss of pressure, and the brake pedal will immediately go to the floor, according to Chambers. He continues, saying that you'll immediately know something is wrong. If anyone has any information about these incidents, police ask that you call them at 302-578-2800. You can also submit a tip via the police website seen there on your screen. And two Elkton, Maryland residents find themselves in custody today with connection of a string of parcel thefts in Newcastle County dating back to the beginning of this year. The alleged thieves, 34-year-old Kevin Grove and 31-year-old Kimberly King, were caught after a late-night encounter with law enforcement at Delaware Park Casino on Sunday. Attempting to evade capture, the pair were eventually tracked down with the assistance of a canine unit. Authorities suspect the pair of involvement of up to 18 separate incidences of package theft. According to police, a patrol officer observed a suspicious vehicle, trailed it to the casino parking lot, and then witnessed a pair of suspects entering the premises. While the officer conducted a routine registration check, security personnel at Delaware Park alerted them to the suspect's hasty exit from another door. Grove was held on a bond totaling $49,300. Charges against him include 8 felony counts of theft, 7 counts of conspiracy, among other charges. Meanwhile, King secured release after posting the same amount of bond. Her charges mirror those of Groves. And down to Dover now, where police are asking for public assistance in investigating the attack of a man by a large group of people at the Cosmic Smoke vape shop over the weekend. Police said they were called to the scene just before 8 o'clock at night on Saturday and found a 33-year-old injured man who told them he was attacked by a group of about 15 to 20 people, ages from 10 to 19. Some in the group physically attacked the man and they demanded his belongings. The group took the man's key fob and apparently fled. The victim refused medical treatment, but information on the suspect is limited, we're told, and police are asking anyone with information to contact them at 302-736-7130. And heightened security measures are being implemented in Pike Creek Shopping Center following last summer's unauthorized car meet. You may remember this. Tire burnouts and frayed nerves prompted the installation of video surveillance trailers equipped with a cluster of cameras that are dubbed lot cops by Delaware State Police. These trailers are strategically placed at both ends of the parking lot, and they aim to deter not only unsanctioned car gatherings, but also various other illicit activities. While privately installed, law enforcement emphasizes that their role in crime prevention and resolution plays a big part. And a group of local Asian Americans are backing a new bill that calls for the creation of a state commission on Asian and Pacific Islander heritage and culture. The bill sailed through committee last week without opposition and now goes to the General Assembly. A 9-member commission would be created to promote the welfare and interests of Delawareans of Asian descent. The commission would also foster ties between communities and make recommendations to lawmakers and the governor. The group Make Us Visible was launched in September of 2023 with the goal of bringing together the Asian and Pacific Islander communities. Newcastle County has an Asian population slightly higher than the national at 6.3%. That has increased from 44% from 2010 to 2021, according to recent census data. The bill now heads to the House floor in Dover. And Delaware lawmakers have sent a bill to Governor John Carney that would greatly expand access to medical marijuana here in the first state. House Bill 285 was passed out of the Senate late last week after receiving bipartisan support in the House in January. The law would empower doctors to decide who benefits from using medical marijuana and eliminate the need for anyone over age 65 to see a doctor for medical marijuana certification. The expansion comes 1 year after Delaware legalized adult recreational marijuana use and created a legal cannabis industry here in the first state. To Kent County, where a new ambulance provider is poised to assume control in Dover. For years, the city has relied on St. Francis ambulances to navigate emergencies. However, this route hit a snag when the contract was abruptly terminated. The cost of St. Francis ambulances to the city amounted to about $100,000 annually. Yet, when the provider indicated a need for $1 million upgrade to sustain services, Dover found itself at a crossroads. Dover's emergency management put it out to bid, and that contract was awarded to the company called Ambulance of Dogco. They were able to do this for $600,000 per year versus everyone else, which was apparently more around the $1.2 million mark. Nevertheless, City Council faces significant budget deliberations to accommodate ambulance as they are set to take over EMS operations in Dover starting July 1. And St. Michael's School and Nursery in Wilmington's East Side received a huge boost on Monday when Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester announced $1 million in federal funding will be awarded to the school. Representative Blunt Rochester visited the school on Monday with the news the investment will help increase access to affordable daycare and increase St. Michael's capacity. Funds will help complete a construction project that's underway and badly needed renovations at the school. That's according to Executive Director Lucinda Ross. Back in March, the federal delegation announced $154 million in community project funding would be available for Delaware. And before we leave you tonight, the 2024-2025 Delaware Theater Company season has just been announced. Get a load of this. The season includes Kinky Boots, Every Brilliant Thing, Home for the Holidays in the 302, Tuesdays with Maury, and Stompin' at the Savoy. Season subscriptions are now on sale. Tickets go on sale for individual shows on August 2nd. All the performances will, of course, be at the Delaware Theater Company at 200 Water Street down in the Wilmington Riverfront. Sounds like a good time. Here's what's making headlines today across the first state. Longtime State Senator Robert Marshall has died. He was 77 years old. Marshall served for 4 decades in the Senate, elected in 1978 and serving until his retirement in 2018. He served the 3rd District, covering Central and West Wilmington and a portion of Newcastle County, including Newport. Marshall was a champion of labor and community issues, working on raising the minimum wage in his last years. After serving 12 terms, Marshall decided to retire in 2017. State Senator Elizabeth Tizzy Lockman took the seat in 2018.
I think anyone who knew Bobby Marshall knew him to be, a big personality, and he could be a character, but he had a lot of really big ideas for Wilmington and for the community that the 3rd District represents. And, I really appreciated that about him. I mean, he served the district for 40 years, which is incredible.
Marshall was born in Wilmington, attended Salesianum High, and attended Thomas Edison State College in New Jersey. He was a Delaware State employee, including his tenure as director of the State Division of Business and Occupational Licenses. In his years in Legislative Hall, he served on several committees and was chair of the Labor Committee. The son of a union carpenter, Marshall never forgot his roots and worked to improve people's lives. He pushed for improving nursing home care, improving parks on Wilmington's west side, and funded many police stations across the city. Marshall unsuccessfully ran for mayor of Wilmington in 2012 and 2016. In other news, Delaware is part of a multi-state coalition of attorney generals looking to strengthen access to emergency abortions. Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown filed a brief with the United States Supreme Court urging the court to maintain a preliminary injunction requiring Idaho hospitals to provide emergency abortion care. The care is required, argue the AGs, under a federal law which requires hospitals to administer emergency care. The brief contends that denying emergency care under Idaho's abortion ban harms pregnant patients as well as health systems generally. Attorney General Brown said to deny a woman an abortion when her life is at risk is cruel. Delaware is one of 24 states named in this brief. And Delaware Capitol Police are investigating an incident of shots fired outside the Kent County Family Court in Dover around 9 a.m. on Wednesday. Police said no one was injured and there are no known threats to the public at this time. We're told the day's court operations were not impacted. Police say more information will be released once it's available. And a student is charged with using an electronic stun gun during a recent fight at Glasgow High School. Authorities say 16-year-old Newark teen and 2 15-year-old students began to argue at the school. That's when the 16-year-old reportedly took out a stun gun from his pocket, walked to the other 2 students, and used it on them both. School staff members then intervened and the constable took the device. A warrant was obtained for the 16-year-old who turned himself into police. Police say charges are pending against the 2 15-year-old students as well. The 16-year-old faces half a dozen charges, many of which are felonies, including possession of a deadly weapon, aggravated menacing, and carrying a concealed deadly weapon, among other charges. The teen was arraigned in family court and released to a guardian on a $13,000 unsecured bond. And in Wilmington, state police are investigating a shoplifting incident that escalated into a robbery at a Family Dollar store. It happened Tuesday afternoon at the Family Dollar located at 1311 Newport Gap Pike. According to police, an unidentified male was confronted by store employees for concealing items in his jacket. The situation then turned aggressive, leading to a physical altercation. The man then reportedly ran out of the store but returned with a baseball bat from his car. He apparently threatened employees with the bat and then blocked the front doors before he left. The suspect is described as a black male wearing dark clothing. Surveillance images and videos are not yet available. Anyone with information is urged to contact 302-365-8404, or you can call Delaware Crime Stoppers. That number is 1-800-TIP-3333. And in other news, an 81-year-old woman is hospitalized tonight in serious condition after her car was hit by a train Tuesday in Middletown. Paramedics say the woman was extricated from her car following the collision on North Broad Street near Cedar Lane Road shortly before 2:30 in the afternoon. She suffered head and other injuries as well as possible internal injuries. Middletown police are investigating the incident now. And a Maryland man has been arrested in connection to a burglary of a home in Kent County that happened last month. On March 19th, state police responded to a home in the 200 block of Main Street in Lipsick for a reported burglary. A man had entered the home in the overnight hours by reportedly pushing in a window on a screen door. The man then reportedly took the keys to a Dodge Ram truck and left the house in the stolen truck. The truck has since been found. Further investigation led police to identify Daniel Roletter and Jennifer Barnes as the suspect in the burglary. He was arrested Monday and charged with numerous offenses. He was held on a $24,000 secured bond. However, police are still searching for Jennifer Barnes. Anyone with information on her whereabouts is asked to contact Detective Green at 302-698-8444. And a federal judge has ruled against a man in his lawsuit against Delaware officials for wrongful imprisonment. Elmer Daniels spent nearly 4 decades in prison for a rape he may not have committed. In a decision issued this week, the judge found no genuine factual dispute that would warrant a trial. The ruling granted a summary judgment to the city of Wilmington, former Detective Philip Saggioni III, and several unnamed police officers mentioned in the lawsuit. Daniels, who now is 62 years old, was sentenced to life in prison back in 1980 for the rape of a 15-year-old girl. Despite doubts raised about the case, Daniel remained in prison until 2018. The Delaware Attorney General's office moved to dismiss Daniel's indictment, leading to his release. Daniel filed suit in 2020, but later dropped his claims against the United States and Malone. Down to Sussex County now, results are in for the town of Blade's annual election for the position of councilman. Candidates who receive the highest number of votes are set to be elected for a 2-year term as councilman. Results for the 3 council seats are Susan Seltzer with 90 votes, Nancy McAdams with 73 votes, Donald Trice with 59 votes, and Raymond Adkins with 41 votes. The town of Blades will swear in councilors-elect Nancy McAdams, Susan Seltzer, and Donald Trice on Monday, April 8th at the upcoming town council meeting. Battling food insecurity. Wilmington Friends School is celebrating its 275th anniversary this year. To commemorate, the school will dig into its Quaker roots with a massive meal drive on Saturday. On April 6th, the Community Service Project will aim to package 27,500 shelf-stable meals for families throughout Delaware. Students, parents, staff, and alumni and community members will all take part in the event. Due to the large number of meals, the private Quaker school has partnered with the Outreach Program. It's a nonprofit whose mission is to provide safe water, food, medical care, and education to children and those in need. The school is also partnering with the Food Bank of Delaware for distribution. And it's that time of year again. Wilmington's street sweepers and cleaning machines are out in full force. Maybe not today because of the rain. Starting this week and continuing through October, streets will be cleaned on designated days as indicated by posted signs throughout the city of Wilmington. Residents and visitors are advised to move their vehicles or else you may be towed during scheduled cleanup hours. The Department of Public Works urges residents to pay careful attention to the dates and times that are blocked on scheduled for cleaning, and to remind visitors at your home about the restrictions. Properly marked vehicles in approved handicap spots, however, are not required to move for any of the street cleaning. Anyone with questions or issues surrounding street cleaning may just call 311, or you can go online to wilmingtonde.gov/311. And in a joint effort to preserve Delaware's natural beauty, 4 state agencies recently collaborated to tackle a significant cleanup operation at Tabor State Forest in western Kent County. The state said reports of illegal dumping in the area prompted the cleanup initiative. Agencies collected and disposed of over 2,300 pounds of trash and debris from the forest. Among the items thrown away were household trash, furniture, tires, animal carcasses, and other debris. The Delaware Natural Resources Police Environmental Crimes Unit emphasized the ongoing commitment of law enforcement to combat illegal dumping across the state. The Crimes Unit said Natural Resources Police has handled 95 dumping complaints just this year alone, resulting in 24 arrests. According to the state, those found guilty of such offenses face heavy fines. We want to remind you there are tools to help find proper places to dispose of garbage, including the Delaware Solid Waste Authority's Facility Finder Map. According to the agency, it only costs $1 per bag to dispose. The state also encourages people to report anyone illegally dumping trash to its 24-hour tip line. That number is 1-800-662-8802. And the Wilmington Blue Rocks are gearing up for their 2024 season opener against the Brooklyn Cyclones. As the first pitch nears, fans can expect an array of new concessions, including the debut of a Scrapple Slider Sandwich. How about that? On Sundays, the team transforms into Rocas Azules de Wilmington, embracing Hispanic culture with festivities and a special appearance by Senor Apio. The upcoming season will also feature theme nights, giveaway, fireworks, and more. You want to stay tuned for a season that's packed with excitement and, of course, community spirit at Frawley Stadium. The season kicks off this Friday. And finally tonight, a sincere thank you from all of us here at DETV to you, our loyal viewers and supporters. We're honored to share that DETV has been recognized by the Delaware Press Association with 7 awards, including Best Newscast, Best Interview Special, Best Talk Show, and Best Special Programming. We set out each and every day to inform, entertain, educate, and most importantly, connect with you and our community. It's our honor to bring quality programming throughout the state of Delaware on TV as well as all of our digital platforms. We thank you for your support and viewership. Here's what's making headlines today. A bill that would significantly increase the state's oversight of healthcare costs here in the first state has drawn opposition from providers. House Bill number 350, sponsored by Delaware Speaker of the House Valerie Longhurst, addresses rising healthcare costs, though greater oversight of hospital finances.
We had to do something. We as legislators had to find solutions to difficult problems, and that's why HB 350 was introduced.
If passed, the law would create what's called the Diamond State Hospital Review Board. The 5-member board would review hospital budgets on an annual basis to ensure that they align with the state's health spending benchmarks. In 2018, Governor John Carney and the legislature established healthcare spending benchmarks, which called for costs to rise 3 to 5% annually. Speaker Longhurst says costs have been increasing 9 to 11% in recent years. Also, Delaware consistently ranks among the most expensive states for healthcare. Longhurst says that Delaware pays more in healthcare costs compared to Vermont, which has created a similar review board. She asserts that the review board will help drive down costs and result in greater transparency and accountability to healthcare costs. The speaker continues that the bill has the full support of the General Assembly and the governor, and she expected to pass in this legislative session that ends June 30th. But groups such as the Delaware Healthcare Association oppose the bill, saying it might actually curtail access to services. Dozens of doctors, nurses, and other healthcare workers spoke out against the bill on March 27th at a public hearing at Legislative Hall. Longhurst said there is some misinformation circulating about the bill, that healthcare jobs will be lost, and that, quote, politicians will be making medical decisions.
I don't think fear mongering in this situation is a good avenue to go. I think coming to the table and having a discussion, I've asked them to come to the table and come up with some solutions, and they have yet to do that. I am hopeful that in next week that they are going to come together with us and have a conversation on, some ideas or suggestions that they have, because it's not sustainable what we're currently doing right now.
Next up for the bill is a meeting next week with hospitals to see if some common ground can be reached. The bill will be considered by the Appropriations Committee on April 17th. And in other news, a 25-year-old man who was shot by police early Thursday morning during a domestic dispute call fled the scene in a stolen police car. With police in pursuit, Tyrese Knuckles led police on a chase, ultimately crashing the car on I-95 in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. The incident began around 2:30 in the morning when Newcastle County Police were called to the Sinwood Club Apartments near Limestone Road for a domestic dispute. Knuckles fled the area on foot but was located nearby a short time later. During a struggle with police officers, an 8-year veteran of the force shot Knuckles. The suspect was able to flee in a fully marked police car, colliding with several other police vehicles along the way. After the crash, the suspect again ran from the scene, but was captured and taken into custody. He was transported to a hospital for a gunshot wound and injuries sustained during the crashes. A 3-year veteran of the Newcastle County Police was admitted to Christiana Care in stable conditions for injuries sustained during one of those initial crashes. The officer who discharged his firearm has been placed on administrative leave per department policy pending an internal investigation, as well as a joint investigation with the Delaware Department of Justice. Limestone Road at Milltown Road here in Delaware and I-95 northbound at Exit 4 were shut down due to these accidents. This remains an ongoing and active investigation. And new today, a Newcastle County jury convicted 20-year-old Israel LeCompte of 2 counts of first-degree murder for the deaths of Quentin Dorsey and Matima Miller in the summer of 2021. LeCompte, associated with a violent teen gang, faces a life sentence without parole for the killings. The trial, which lasted 3 weeks, revealed evidence linking him to a series of crimes, including robbery and non-fatal shootings, allegedly tied to gang feuds here in Wilmington. Defense attorney Adam Windett highlighted discrepancies in witness statements, but was unable to sway the jury, which delivered a guilty verdict on all counts. His sentencing is scheduled for later this year. And switching gears here, an historic black church that dates back to 1813 was vandalized over the Easter weekend. St. Daniel's Community Church of Iron Hill is the oldest known surviving free black church that was built as part of the African Union Church movement in northern Delaware. The church was targeted with racist graffiti scrawled on the exterior and a broken window. Inside, the heat stopped working, worrying church leaders that someone had tampered an outdoor propane tank, prompting the congregation to move Easter services. Though they may have moved out for Easter, Pastor Joseph Field says the church is here to stay. The church was recently listed on the National Register of Historic Places. It served the community of free blacks who lived in the Iron Hill area prior to the Civil War. And when 36-year-old Amand Nicholas Liu drove to Tidbury Park on April 2nd to meet a 14-year-old girl he had apparently romanced online, well, he got quite a surprise. Instead of an inexperienced teenager, the Dover Air Force Base technical sergeant, he was met by an undercover federal agent. He was arrested on charges of attempted coercion and enticement of a minor. The U.S. Department of Justice had posted a phony profile of an 18-year-old claiming to be new to dating and was matched with Liu. Well, a conversation ensued, moving to their cell phones and becoming more sexual as time went on. The fake persona texted Liu that she was not 18, as the profile stated, but, quote, almost 15. Liu responded that they could still be friends, and talk became more sexual in nature, with Liu describing sexual acts he wanted to perform with the supposed young girl. Liu faces up to 10 years if convicted. And staying in Dover now, police are investigating attempted robberies at 2 separate vape shops overnight. Police say the first occurred just before 1:30 a.m. Thursday when they were called to Cosmic Smoke on South DuPont Highway. There, authorities say they discovered a suspect who had thrown rocks at a window attempting to gain entry but was unsuccessful, and then he fled the scene. The suspect is described only as a male on a bicycle wearing a surgical face mask. Then, just after 2 a.m., police were called again to a glass break alarm at First State Vape on North DuPont Highway. Officers found 2 men running from the store, and they were able to chase down one 15-year-old suspect. Police were unable to find the second suspect, however. The 15-year-old was charged with a number of offenses before being turned over to his guardian. Police say the investigation into the first attempted burglary at Cosmic Smoke is ongoing, and they ask anyone with information to contact them at 302-736-7130. And it will be a fairly light day on May 14th for school board elections, with 19 candidates filed to run for 8 seats around the first state. Last year, 43 candidates ran for 23 open seats across 16 school districts. The ballots are light because a number of districts have board members whose terms are up but are running unopposed. In those cases, there will be no election. Polls are open on the 14th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And beach access at Delaware Seashore State Park will be temporarily limited as the Delaware Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Control continues work in response to the March 26 dune breach that flooded Route 1. DENREC has added sand to the north side of the Indian River Inlet since the dune initially breached, and a spokesperson said the reforfeited dune had held so far. Some sandbars have also been returned with the tide. DENREC is continuing to receive sand for the dune and says they will add it once they are able to remove the large marine debris that have washed up when the dune breached. Rusted metal and rebar has already been found in the sand, according to DENREC, and a volunteer cleanup will be organized to remove smaller debris once the larger pieces have been removed by DENREC. And for the first time in its 34-year history, a Delaware chef is nominated as a Best Chef finalist in the Mid-Atlantic James Beard Award. Matthew Kern, the chef and co-owner of Fenwick Island's One Coastal, has received 2 Beard nominations, but never as a finalist. Called the Oscars of Food, the James Beard Awards are the biggest and most prominent competition for chefs nationally. Kern previously whipped up his culinary masterpieces at Heirloom, which was also celebrated for superior quality food. In 2022, Kern and his wife Karen bought One Coastal. It's a farm-to-table spot off the beaten path on the barrier spit of Fenwick Island, close to the Maryland border and the Atlantic Ocean. The idea behind the restaurant, according to Kern, was to support local responsible farms and to showcase the seasons. The awards will be held in June in Chicago, where the winners will be announced. Well, here's another winner, Shakira Denise, and I hope that she is bringing some sun with her, because I think I can speak for us all, Shakira, when we are so tired of this rain.
We are tired of the rain. I'm wearing pink today because I'm channeling my inner sunshine and spring, right? Okay. Good evening, DETV fam. I hope you are enjoying your week. And like Matt said, despite all this rain we're having, it's going to be great. We're going to get some relief. So let's just check out what this weekend's weather forecast is going to be. On Friday, we're looking at partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies with highs near 50 degrees. Now, as we move into Friday night, don't put that coat away because you're going to need it. The temperatures will dip down to around 37 degrees. Now, on Saturday, we'll start off with partly cloudy skies in the morning, but expect clouds to increase as the day progresses. Now, wrapping up the weekend on Sunday, it'll be generally sunny, despite a few afternoon clouds with a high of 56 degrees, and again, cold temperatures at night. Now, despite the cooler temperatures, there are some hot, exciting events happening this weekend that you don't want to miss. On Friday, April 5th, you want to head over to the Queen to hear Wilmington's own Cherry Park with the Carryways and Avery Hirsch. Cherry Park is a Delaware-based dream pop group, and they'll be showcasing their own music. But wait, you don't want to leave the Queen because there's something coming up that evening. You want to stick around for the No Scrubs 90s dance party in the evening, where you can dance it out and have a good time while listening to your favorite 90s songs. Make sure you visit the Queen's website for ticket information. Now, speaking of Queen, I know we have some Queen Bee Beehive fans out there. So on Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m., the Wilmington Brew Works is hosting a Cowboy Carter listening party. I've heard the album. It's fantastic. So for all my fellow Beyonce fans, you can expect dancing, discussions about the album, some light bites, and of course, Beyonce-themed drinks. Now, this is going to be so much fun. Make sure you check it out and don't forget to dress the part, so you have to come in your best Cowboy Carter outfit and have a good time. After a weekend full of dancing and fun, why not treat yourself and the family or your friends to a delicious meal on Sunday? Head over to Harry's Savoy Grill and Ballroom for their mouth-watering 3-course Sunday dinner. You can choose between a Caesar salad or New England clam chowder, followed by a chef's cut prime rib with whipped potatoes, and finish off with a delightful creme brulee for dessert. I'm hungry now. So there you have it, DETV fam. With these exciting events and tasty dining options, you're all set for a fantastic and fun weekend. You can thank me later. Back to you, Matt.
I'll thank you now. That's a whole bunch of good stuff going on. Thanks, Shakira. And now on Monday, April 8th, you may have heard, a large portion of the country will be able to witness a total solar eclipse. The last time this occurred was in August of 2017. Usually there are a couple of solar eclipses per year, but most are partial, and it's rare for the sun and moon to align perfectly for a total eclipse. According to NASA, the totality of the eclipse, which is when the moon completely covers the sun, will only be actually for about 4 or 5 minutes, so you don't want to miss it. But the moon will be covering some of the portion of the sun for a few hours. Now here in Delaware, we'll be able to see the eclipse from about 2 to 4:30 in the afternoon. Besides the visual sensation, people watching outdoors will experience a sharp decline in temperature. Now, I want to talk about safety. Special glasses are needed, which can be ordered on various websites. Just make sure not to buy some of those fake ones that we've been seeing circulating around the internet and that are just slightly tinted. You want to make sure that what you get is called ISO certified glasses. NASA has put out a list of vendors that are selling the approved glasses, and you can find that list on NASA's website. And a bartender from Newcastle is $150,000 richer this week after claiming her prize in the Delaware Lottery scratch-off game called Platinum Payout. The 39-year-old woman, who chose to remain anonymous, I don't think I blame her, purchased a winning ticket from a store called Tobacco Time in Bear. The woman shared the news with her boyfriend first and is still deciding how to use those winnings. Her secret, you ask? Well, she says she started playing the Delaware Lottery when she was 21 years old and typically buys 5 tickets at a time. And speaking of winnings, the Powerball jackpot now sits at a whopping $1.23 billion. The jackpot, which now ranks as the 8th largest in U.S. lottery history, has been growing for more than 3 months, reflecting the long odds of 1 in 292 million of winning that top prize. Since the last player won the jackpot on New Year's Day, there have been 40 consecutive drawings without anyone matching all 6 of those numbers. The $1.23 billion prize is for a sole winner who chooses to be paid through an annuity of 30 annual payments. Winners almost always prefer the cash option, which for the next drawing on Saturday night would be an estimated $595.1 million. It's still not too bad, in my opinion. And before we go tonight, if you had plans to attend that Made in America festival in Philly Labor Day weekend, well, you might want to look for a plan B. The festival has been canceled for a 2nd year in a row. The festival announced the cancellation this week. A specific reason was not given. In August of 2023, just 1 month before the festival was scheduled to take place on the Ben Franklin Parkway with Lizzo and SZA as the headliners, Made in America announced the festival would not happen, quote, due to severe circumstances outside of production's control. The festival began back in 2012. Shakira, have you ever been to Made in America?
I have not.
I haven't been either. But when I told you it was canceled before the show, I felt like you were maybe gonna go.
Yeah, I was a little bit
You were a
upset.
little
Only
bit
because
upset?
it's the second year in a row. We just don't know what's going on.
And we just don't know what's happening. Maybe it'll come back next year.
Maybe, but I'm going to
knows?
get the Powerball ticket.
You're gonna get the Powerball
Yes.
ticket, good. And I purposely put in the news to make like the name of the game that she won for scratch off, and her secret is that to start early in life to play and to buy 5 tickets at a time.
Okay.
So I think she's on to something.
I think she is too.
Perfect. And you'll share your winnings, I hear.
Okay, well, it's getting late.
Well, that's going to do it for tonight's edition of DETV News. Be sure to follow us across all of our social media platforms.
And for a look at what's happening all around Delaware, take a look at our website at detvch.com.
That's right. From all of us here at DETV News, I'm Matt Ford.
And I'm Shakira Denise. We'll see you next week.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
We don't talk about prostate cancer enough, and it's the most diagnosed form of cancer and the second most common cause of cancer death among Black men in both Delaware and the United States. Approximately 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime, but just by asking your healthcare provider if you should get a screening could help you detect prostate cancer early and save your life. So let's talk about it. Talk to your healthcare provider today about a prostate cancer screening if you are 40 years of age or older, or have a family history of prostate cancer. If you don't have insurance, or if your insurance doesn't pay for cancer screenings, Screening for Life may provide you with the screenings that you need, and nurse navigators make this process easier. To learn more, visit healthydelaware.org/prostate or call 211. Ask your healthcare provider about a prostate cancer screening, and you're asking for so much more.